copies of the student guide as well. We'll be sending these out via email. So let's talk about really quick for people who don't know, what is PadSplit? You know, PadSplit has been actually open since 2017. And here in the last, I would say year to 2 years, they've actually have been getting a lot of traction. Why? Because we're in a time where affordability is an issue. And PadSplit is actually where you take a property, you chop it up. So you take like a 3-bedroom, 2-bath property, which is the existing floor plan. This is how you bought the property. This is how you acquired the property. And you actually make it to a 7, 8, 9, 10-bedroom property. So for every actually 1 bathroom, or for every 4 bedrooms, you need 1 bathroom. And I'm going to go more in depth in that just in a second. But I get one question actually all the time. A lot of people are like, well, Javier, if I was to actually if I was to actually market my rooms myself via Facebook group, Airbnb, Rentster, Roomster.com, you know, there's all these co-marketing actually websites and platforms. Is that still considered co-living? Absolutely. You don't need to use PadSplit. PadSplit is what they have done is they have created a marketplace, a centralized marketplace nationwide. And they're in a lot of markets, not every single market. And we'll get into what markets they're in and what markets are the best right now and most relevant. But what they have created is a marketplace for bedroom rentals, for individuals, single individuals to be able to go out there and get a property, a bedroom rental at a property, let's say 123 Main Street. And the cool thing about this is it's actually helping out the homelessness in a lot of communities. And these cities and counties are starting to see effects on a PadSplit. They're starting to see that how it's helping out the local city and county, wherever the property is, right? So what PadSplit has done, think of it like Airbnb. Airbnb, you think about, oh, I want to go on a vacation. I want to rent a whole entire home. Well, you go to Airbnb for that. What PadSplit has done, they have created exactly the same thing, but they have created a marketplace only for co-living bedroom rentals for single individuals. There is not a family thing. You can't bring your pets, you can't bring your kids. This is for single individuals who need a stepping stone. And so what PadSplit has created and what they do actually is they curate a member for your bedroom. And why I like to use PadSplit as an investor is because PadSplit does all the marketing. They do all the tenant background checks, the credit checks, the employment verifications. They do all that stuff and they put and curate a member for each bedroom that I have. I don't want to go out and do that. Again, you can actually do this as the investor. You can do all that heavy lifting if you want. But for me to pay PadSplit a fee for them to be able to curate a member per bedroom, I'm okay with doing that because right now I know one of the most important things for me and what I'm going to teach you guys is time is super, super important. We have to watch how we utilize our time, right? And our time, we don't get our non-refundable minutes back. So I rather leverage that, delegate that to a company called PadSplit. And if you go to padsplit.com right now, you can see their interface of their website. They have done a phenomenal job of the engineering and the software that they have done. Now, a lot of people ask me this. This is my number 2 question I get. Does PadSplit manage the property? No, they do not. They do 3 things. They do the background check, the credit check, and the employment verification. Other than that, they give you a nice, sexy platform for you to manage your properties on, so you can consider it like a CRM. And then they do the marketing. Other than that, with tenant disputes, anything like that, you have to handle that. Hey, Bob in room 1 is fighting with Judy in room 4. Hey, Bob in room 1 is smoking in there. You guys would handle that. And we're going to get to that. Once we get to day 3, I'm going to talk about how I streamline the process and how I have my team in there handling issues that arise like this. Now, again, guys, remember, it's just like saying, hey, I want to go to the beach and I don't want to get sand on my feet. This is the type of business where you are going to interact with individuals who are in these rooms. They are going to have some problems at some point. There's no way of preventing it 120%. There's ways to mitigate. Now, we could talk about that. We're going to talk about how we can mitigate disputes and just tension in the house and how I set these houses up. So PadSplit is a marketplace for co-living. That's all they've done. So if you do co-living outside of PadSplit, it's still co-living. PadSplit's co-living. There's no difference. They have just created a platform where they are now cornering the market and being the go-to for bedroom rentals. So that's what PadSplit is, okay? And so if you see here on the diagram that I have here, so when I talk about my existing floor plan, right? On the left-hand side, just to give you an example, on the left-hand side, you can see this existing floor plan of 4 bedrooms, okay? This is pre-pad split renovations. We actually take these properties and we chop them up. So we'll turn a 4-bedroom and typically into a 7, 8, 9 bedroom. And I'll tell you where the sweet spot is and why I convert to a certain amount of bedrooms per property. So you can see on the right side here is when I bought the property, I'm at a 4-bedroom. When I convert the property, I'm at a 6-bedroom. How do we get all these extra bedrooms? Well, you actually turn in your living rooms and your dining rooms and your flex rooms into bedrooms. Because when you're running a co-living business model, it's actually a waste of space for you to have all these common areas in a house. It actually just collects dust. And another thing is you don't put furniture in these common areas. One, because you don't want people to congregate and stuff like that. Now you have a little dining table so people can have their, dinner, their breakfast and stuff like that, but that's it, right? So on the right side here, guys, you will see when you take these properties, you're actually going to chop them up, meaning like you're putting walls up. You're putting walls up in the living room. You're putting walls up in the dining room. You're putting walls up in the common areas. Anywhere where there's 2 forms of egress. Let's talk about egress for a second. On these pictures, you'll notice these bedrooms, they have an interior wall that they're connected to. So you can't just put a room in the middle of the house and there's no exterior walls. Every single room that you put up in a pad split has to have 2 forms of egress, meaning a window for a person to jump out of if there's a fire, or a bedroom door for them to get out of, right? You have to do things up to code. And one of the things that you guys are probably going to ask me is like, oh, do you pull permits and stuff like that? We're going to get into that in just a second. Don't you worry. So when you're chopping up these houses and you're adding your walls in them, make sure when you're walking the perimeter of the home, you're looking and paying attention to where the windows are. That way you can put up your walls there and you have an extra bedroom, right? You're not just putting a bedroom in the middle of a house. Like I make an example. I have a house that has a really big living room and there's no way where I can add another bedroom unless I cut another hole into the wall. And even that doesn't make sense because they would go from the window into a garage area. So again, it has to go from bedroom. They have to go from a bedroom to an outside area. So for instance, if there's a fire, they have to jump out that window and be able to go outside. They can't go from jumping out of that window, going to another room or another bedroom. Same thing for the door. They have to be able to exit the not to the outside, but that door has to go to like a common area or something like that. So as long as they have 2 forms of egress and it's an 80 square foot minimum on the bedroom, you actually within pad split requirements, they have a requirements on their website of what is the requirements for a bedroom on pad split. How can you meet code? And so you want to make sure you're doing all this stuff to code, guys. That way that you don't have any issues in the future. So again, on the left side is the existing floor plan, and then on the right side is the pad split. My properties, and I'll go into that at the end. I'll be talking about my properties here in a second. My properties, just so you know, on a quick reference, they range anywhere from 6 to 8 bedrooms. And I'll go into why some of them are 6 and why some of them are 8 here just in a second, okay? When you guys go to padsplit.com, if you guys go there, you'll get this student guide. You just click on their website and you sign up. It's actually good, even though you guys don't have a property just yet, or maybe some of you guys do have a property. If you do have a property, you should be marketing your property on the PadSplit website as up and coming. If you don't have a property, it is okay. I actually want you to sign up right now on their PadSplit website, create a user profile. That way you can actually start seeing the interface. You can start seeing and start playing with some of the resources that they have. So for instance, they have a calculator. They have, if you go on here, they have the calculator. They have the market database. So you'll see when I go to PadSplit right here, I'm on their website right here. I can go to the resource tab. So I'm actually in my profile right now. I'm just going to scan through some of these and we'll talk about how you utilize some of these things. Okay. But on here, you can go to compare properties. You can go where to buy my next property. And you can go right here, go into what I just said, PadSplit requirements. So the reason why I'm saying sign up, even if you don't have PadSplit, is because it's important for you to start playing with some of these resources. And we'll get into that in just a second. So go right now, sign up for PadSplit if you don't have a PadSplit account. That way, when you guys follow along or you hear me talking about something, you can actually reference back to that individual thing that I'm talking about, okay? The dashboard on PadSplit, I love it. Like I said, they have a really nice system. They've done a great job on the engineering as far as getting the properties in there, monitoring tickets like maintenance tickets and stuff like that. We won't go too far into that because right now we want to get you guys into PadSplit's ecosystem, and then once you're in the ecosystem, we'll start showing you guys how to utilize a lot of these resources that they actually give us for free. I'm going to show you right now, just really quick. When I go in, one of my things that I play with is where to buy next. And so I'm going to make an example. When I type in, let's say one of my markets, and you'll see on my buy box is Tampa, right? So when I'm looking at a market, and I'm going to go more into market analysis, guys, I'm just showing you some of the resources really quick. So here's the cool thing. When you sign up on their platform, they show you the market. Here's the Tampa, Florida market. I love Tampa. I love big metro. I love metro cities. I love being outside of Tampa as well. I don't mind secondary markets. I'm going to go way more into depth into market analysis. I'm just showing you some resources really quick. But did you notice I can see really quick a snapshot of how many units are actually in Tampa, Florida? And I can actually see up and coming. This means pad splits that aren't in that market yet active. That means these are people who are renovating properties and they're just marketing them on PadSplit. So that's why I just mentioned just a second ago. If you own a property and you are going to go on PadSplit, make sure you're upcoming marketing them. That way you can start getting engagement. And actually the cool thing is PadSplit, what they do is if you add it on the consumer side as a favorite, they will ping you when the property's live. They'll say, hey, 123 Main Street's live. Here's the photos, and they'll try to get that person to book that property. But my point here is why this is an important tool. It's important to know what markets you're going to and what markets are live on PadSplit. So if you go to padsplit.com, you'll see every single market that they're in when you search on there, and I'll show you that in a second. So you can see up and coming, and you can see the live, and it's a very actually interactive map. And if you zoom in on the map, you can actually click per zip code. They actually have it broken down per zip code. So if you're like, oh, okay, I'm buying a home in this zip code, it will show you, like, for instance, postal code 33610. It will show you in that exact zip code, you have 251 active units, you have 14 upcoming, and then you have the average price. Here's the beauty about it. They're doing all the hard work for you. They're telling you the average weekly room rate is 201 in that zip code. The per week with a private bathroom, if you have a private bathroom for that individual, they're getting 264 per week, 196 per week with a shared bathroom, right? So they're giving you these numbers. They're giving you the occupancy rate, and they're telling you 2 days for the first booking, 26 days for occupancy rate. What does that mean? That means by the time you go live on the platform, they're saying it takes you 2 days for you to get your first booking, okay? Which is important to you because what happens? When you have a property, you have it on the market, it's active, you're excited, it's in service, you want to be able to stabilize that asset ASAP. You don't want to bleed out of the pockets anymore, because the only downfall about doing all this is actually you're losing money day one when you close on your acquisition, right? So how do you position yourself the right way to where you make sure you account for 60 to 90 days of holding costs when you're doing those? I'll get to that in a second as well. Don't worry. But they're doing all this right here for you per zip code. Now, some markets that they don't have enough data on, and the reason why I'm using Tampa, Florida as a market, you can actually do this in any single market. Some markets, like I'll make an example. Somebody reached out to me about Fort Worth, Texas the other day. When I searched Fort Worth, Texas, and I did this resource map, the only downfall about it is they had not enough data in that market. But if you go to Dallas, Texas, they actually have a lot of data in that market. So they're only populating this and this interactive maps for markets that they're active in and then they have data in. So if you go right now and you're looking at a market and you don't have those data points, it's because they don't have enough data in that market, right? So they can't give you numbers just yet. I don't know how long it takes them to produce this data, but I go into markets that I know that I have data points on. Because remember, guys, you want to make your investments based on data. We're not just blindly figuring out, oh, what markets are best to go into and what markets could be good markets and what markets could be guinea pig markets for my portfolio. If you're doing this, we want to make sure, especially if it's your first one and your risk tolerance is maybe not as high as mine, you want to make sure you're going into predictability. You want to make sure that you're investing into a market that you know that's going to yield you XYZ return. Okay. So this is one of the resources here. Make sure you take advantage of that again by signing up on PadSplit. The other resource that they have is the compare the market calculator. I personally don't use their calculator. I'm not a huge fan of their calculator. I have my own spreadsheet, and I'll go into that in a second. But you can actually come in here, like for instance, you could put Atlanta in. You could put how many bedrooms, bathrooms that you think you're going to have, or excuse me, bedrooms count that you're going to have. And then you can play with the weekly prices. And then you can spit out 75 percentile. You're going to be the top 10%. How are you going to be as a earner, as a PadSplit operator? And they'll start spitting out numbers here. I don't use their calculator just because I go a little bit more conservative on my underwriting and stuff like that. I'm not going to get in underwriting right now because that's not where we're at. But I'm just showing you the resources that a PadSplit has, so you guys know when you guys sign up, you can take advantage of these resources, okay? All right, so that's that. And then the last but not least, third resource that they have on their website, and the one that I mainly use is the interactive map, guys. That's the one I mainly use. The third one is just the requirements. What are my requirements? What are the guidelines? What do I need to have in a bedroom for it to be able to be marketable on PadSplit? So 2 forms of egress, 80 square foot minimum. And then if you go down their list, they'll give you actually exactly the requirements for every single one. So for instance, accessible exterior doors must have 2 locks. All flooring must be in good and sealed with no trip hazards, right? You can actually go through this list that they made for you guys and make sure that your property checks all these boxes before you go live. That way you don't have to worry about like, oh man, I forgot to add door locks that were electronic, or I forgot to do a certain task. That way they're like, okay, because remember, every time you go live, it actually gets reviewed by a PadSplit representative. And I'm sure they have BAs doing this, but it gets reviewed by a PadSplit representative to make sure like you have 2 forms of egress. You have a bed in there, you have a mattress on there, you have pillows, you have a nightstand, you have a lamp, stuff like that. And they actually breaks you down, right? So for instance, if you know that you're going to do a PadSplit with more than, let's say 8 bedrooms, then you need to have 2 fridges for requirements, make an example, right? So they will take you room by room on every single thing that you need on the property as far as when you're converting these properties into PadSplits, right? They even give you a little bit of pictures and stuff like that. I highly recommend when you guys are doing this, you make your property pop. You want to make it more, you want to make it inviting. You want it to speak to people who are looking to book the property for their stay or however long they are. Typically, they say on PadSplit, the average person is there between 7 to 9 months, okay? And that's based on their statistics. All right. So that's the resources. So those are the 3 resources. We talked about the calculator already. You guys will be getting this sheet. If Matt hasn't sent it to you already, you'll be getting this sheet so you guys can go and just click all these links, and then you don't have to worry about getting distracted, not following along and stuff like that. Leveraging market insights. Like I said, one of the main tools that I use on their platform, and which is the only tool that I use actually, is their market insights. So what I do when I'm analyzing a market, one, I invest in the markets that I know that are yielding me 20 to 30% cash on cash returns. How do I do that? Well, when I first started out, I actually would contact a PadSplit representative and they would help me pencil numbers for that individual market. Well, right now, I've gotten to the point where I don't even need a PadSplit representative, where I'm using my spreadsheet, and then with my spreadsheet, I use the market insights on the average rooms. But here how I actually get in on even more in-depth numbers. And I'm going to go over this, I think tomorrow on day 2, I'm going to go over some underwriting stuff for you guys and showing you guys how to properly underwrite a property. I'm going to show you exactly what I'm doing and how I'm calculating, not based on their averages, even though I'll take a look at it. Like I'll take a look at their average room rates for that individual zip code, and I'm honing in on exactly what zip code I'm in. So if I'm in 336102, I'm going right to the resource tab, just like I showed you. I'm honing in. I want to see how many PadSplits are in there, how much competition do I have, and how many are up and coming, and what I'm going to charge per week. I will look at their averages numbers, but what I do, and I'm going to go more in depth on this tomorrow, is I actually look at what are my biggest competitors. My biggest competitors in one zip code isn't just a PadSplit host. It's actually my biggest competitors are studio apartments and 1 bedrooms. I want to know that I'm priced accordingly, because remember, if somebody is booking my rooms, the next progression in life is a studio apartment or 1 bedroom. So what are these 1 bedrooms are priced at? For instance, If I'm charging $200 a week, right, which is 2468, $800 a month, and studio apartments in that same exact zip code are going for $800 a month, do you really think you're going to get $200 a week for your bedroom? No. So when I go into underwriting tomorrow, what I'm going to tell you guys about is add that 20 to 30% discount off that $800. That way you can price yourself accordingly. You have competition, right? Your competition is other PadSplit hosts and studio and one bedroom apartments. Those are your biggest competitors. How do I find my stuff? How do I find the inventory and what it's renting for? You go to apartments.com, Zillow. I'm going to go more in depth in that tomorrow, but we're going to go into market insights and stuff like that. Property evaluation tools. And the property evaluation tools that I use, the only one that I use is the resource tab. Again, you can use the calculator in that if you want, in the resource tab on PadSplit, if you guys haven't gone there yet. Okay. Let's talk about a little about what my portfolio looks like. So right now, I've been doing PadSplit for the last 7 months. Everything that I acquire is via subject to or seller finance. Like I said, we are in a climate to where if you do a BRRRR or you buy a property with a bank loan, the problem is you can't cash flow. It's hard, very, very hard to cash flow. I do see people taking down properties, rehabbing them, refinancing them with the banks. But I mean, my best strategy, I think right now in the climate that we're in, is to be able to take down properties via subject to, okay, and or seller finance. Those are the best things. But I do have one property that I do want to mention that I bought years and years ago that was actually an Airbnb. So actually a lot of people in this Zoom are actually Airbnb folks that were attacked by the regulations, or they're attacked by market saturation. Well, this property right here that I have in Winter Park, Florida, I'll give you an example. It actually was an Airbnb property. I was making about $10,000 a month. And then all of a sudden code enforcement started knocking on my door, giving me issues about 2.5 years later, okay? The way I looked at it, I was like, you know what? I have a couple options with this property. I can go long-term rental and I could still make $1,000 a month. I can go, I can sell the property, cash out, do a 1031 into another property if I wanted to. But we all know 1031s with the timelines, they're very strict. They're very hard to do, very successful, right? Not a big fan of that strategy either. So what I ended up doing was, at the time, I was at a network event and PadSplit representative was there. Believe it or not, one of my buddies who is the national PadSplit representative, he was actually wholesaling years ago. I met him in the wholesale industry, wholesaling real estate. And it was funny enough, he's now one of the PadSplit reps. He's like one of the top reps. And I saw him at a network and he's like, hey bro, I do PadSplit and I'm doing PadSplit now. He gave me his card and et cetera. So we reconnected and stuff like that. I was like, you know what, dude, this is crazy. I have a property right now that's fully furnished and I want to be able to take advantage of PadSplit. I want to be able to go in and maybe potentially throw up some walls and convert this into a PadSplit. So to tell you about this property right here in Winter Park, Florida, which is one of my markets. One of my markets that I invest into is Orlando. Why? Because the basic job growth, we're in a metro area, we have bus stops. The people who are going to fuel your property and your avatar customer are the individuals working at the Home Depots, working at the restaurants, working at the theme parks, stuff like that. Basic job growth, guys. This is the people who are actually going to fuel your property as far as bedroom rentals and stuff like that. All right, so I think it's showing the right. Yep. So yeah, I'm right here. I'm talking right here. Jimmy, I'm right here on this this first property right here. You guys can see my screen, right? The Orlando, Florida, right? In Winter Park. All right, cool. So this property, it was an Airbnb. I got attacked by local regulations. One side was a 4-bedroom, 1 bath. And then the other side, it's a duplex, by the way, guys. One side was a 4-bedroom, 1 bath. And then the other side was a 1-bedroom, 1 bath. And so what I ended up doing was I converted the one side that had 1 bedroom, 1 bath into a 2-bedroom, 1 bath. And the side that had 4 bedrooms, 1 bath, I kept it as a 4-bedroom, 1 bath. So I actually have 4 members living on one side, and I actually have 2 members living on the other. So that's a total of 6. The property actually lends itself to build more bedrooms. The only reason I didn't do it, because this particular property, I would have to add more bathrooms, and I didn't want to go down the rabbit hole of adding bathrooms and stuff like that. I didn't want to fork out the capital. The property as a 6-bedroom, okay, and being split like it was, it still made sense for me to convert it into a PadSplit, okay? That property, I made it a 6-bedroom PadSplit and it's yielding me about $55,000 to $6,000 a month. And in the Orlando market, what I like about the Orlando market, there's so much demand for pad splits. I think we're hovering, last time I checked, between all the zip codes, we're hovering right around under $1,000, but right under $1,000 or excuse me, not 1,000, 1,000 units in Orlando, meaning 1,000 homes that are on PadSplit. Okay, so our market is actually a market that still has a lot of opportunity there because we actually don't have a lot of supply. So I got with the PadSplit representative. I told him, and I was running my numbers. I said, I think I could do about $5,000 to $6,000 a month. So what I did was he actually came, he walked the property, and PadSplit actually has representatives in several markets. I would say they're understaffed. And that's why I'm doing this, guys, because I want to be able to give back to you guys and be able to walk you through how to look for a good PadSplit opportunity and a good PadSplit market. Well, if you go to reach out to PadSplit right now, you're probably not going to find a representative in your market. You might not, depending on the market that you're in. Okay. But what I did is I reached out to him. He walked the property. Matt actually has a video in the chat if you want to see the property I'm actually referring to right on my YouTube. And I walked the property and we actually got together to figure out where we were going to put walls and how much money I was going to make on this property. Okay. This particular property, we analyzed it and we were coming out with like $6,200 a month. Right now it's floating at, it's been live in service for about, I would say about, we launched in January. So we're right around like $6,000 a month. Now, every single room out of all of the 6 rooms have been full. Now, what has happened recently for this property is we did have 2 members move out. What has nothing to do with the property. They just had a natural progression to something else. They didn't stay long. So I haven't actually got to see that 7 to 9 month retention rate yet. All my other members have been there a very long time. But as we know, if somebody moves out, guess what? I got to refill the room. And so this is the beauty about PadSplit. If this was one family that I was renting the property to, I would be out of business. And so me as the investor, not only can I make 2 to 3x my rental, my traditional rental amount that I would have got for that property, because one side would have rented for about $1,200 a month, long-term rental. And then the other side, I probably would have maybe got $2,300 a month. So in total, I would have got like $3,300 a month in gross revenue on that one property. Okay. Plus I would have the uncertainty of having my doors closed, getting that property back a year later, 2 years later, 3 years later, probably roach infestations, probably plumbing leaks. The tenants didn't let me know about anything. And plus, I don't know if I'm getting paid every single month on that property until 20, 30 days, or about 30 days down the road. Because, right, remember, our long-term tenants pay between the 1st and the 5th. After the 5th, you're considered late. So the cool thing about it is, even though that right now, 4 of the 6 bedrooms, or right now, actually 5 of the 6 bedrooms are rented because we flipped the room. We got another member in the property, which PadSplit, they call the person living in the room, they call them members because they're a member of their LLC. And I'll get into that in just 1 second as well. But we flipped the room and now we have 5 bedrooms out of the 6 bedrooms occupied. Okay. And this property, guess what? I'm not out of business, even though those 2 people moved out. And that's the beauty, because with real estate and single family at this point is when somebody moves out, you're out of business. You're not making money anymore. Okay. And that's the beauty about PadSplit. You actually take that risk and you spread it so much wider. You don't have to worry about one family moving out and you actually not getting paid anymore. So we're actually able to flip that room, and now the other room is up and ready for another member to move in. And we will fill that room probably the next 5 to 7 days or so like that. But when we clean the room, we clean it within 24 hours, get it back on the market. Okay. So that's my Orlando property. That property, by the way, I do want to mention, I did not buy that subject to, and I did not buy that seller finance. The reason why I didn't, guys, and the reason why that property I've actually had in my portfolio for a long time. I actually had the broken mindset years ago. I thought I had to use banks, right? I was the guy who would go to a bank with the good credit, with all the financials, and anyways, with the tax returns, and I would show them, hey, I can qualify. So that property, I bought it traditionally, put it on Airbnb. Now it's a PadSplit. My property number 2 right here is my Jacksonville property. This property I actually acquired via subject to 2.5% interest rate. This property was brought to me by a wholesaler. And one of my methods of acquiring real estate, guys, is, and the way I'm able to spend time with you guys and give back to my communities is because I have people out there scouting for deals for me. So some of you guys might know them as a bird dog, right? In real estate. These are people out here actually scouting for deals at my buy box. Now you can acquire deals many different ways, guys. You can go direct to seller yourself and have that conversation and negotiate. But you have to ask yourself, what does your time look like? If you're working a 9 to 5, it might be difficult for you to do that. But well, for me, I'm very busy. I have multiple businesses. I don't have time to sit there and nag sellers for 30, 40, 50 days, sometimes 2 months, sometimes 1 to 2 years for them to sign a contract with me, for me to be able to execute and put it as a pad split. Okay. So what I did was to keep things streamlined is I have gone out there, I've built relationships with wholesalers, I have gotten in communities, I've shaken hands, just like, for instance, in my Be Bold investing community, people know my buy box. If somebody in there is scouting for deals, they're going to bring deals to me first because they know I'm a serious buyer. They know I'm intentional. Okay. So one of the ways that I get my deals is right through wholesalers. I'm not doing anything crazy. These wholesalers know what I want. They bring me deals first because I'm a VIP buyer. And then a lot of times I actually counter them on the deal, meaning like I counter the entry fees. And we'll get into that in just a second as well. Okay. But that's bad. This property was actually purchased via subject to at a 2.5 interest rate. It was an existing floor plan of a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and I converted it into an 8-bedroom, 2-bath property. Okay. Remember, for every 4 bedrooms, you need to have 1 bathroom. And right now, that property is at 5 out of the 8 bedrooms are rented. There's 3 bedrooms that are right now that are vacant. This particular property, I haven't got a whole bunch of cash flow on. Right now, it's just stabilized. What does that mean? Stabilized means a property you're not spitting out of money out of your pocket anymore. This particular property is in Jacksonville. Jacksonville market has a lot more competition in Jacksonville. Okay. So it's just a lot slower burn to get people and members in your rooms. For instance, Orlando, what I like about Orlando, it's not as an old market as Jacksonville. So there's not as many pad splits here. So when your properties when somebody does move out, you can actually turn them very fast. In Jacksonville, it takes a little longer, sometimes 60 to 90 days to start getting you to that 60 to 70% occupancy. And so why this is important for you guys to know, it's important for you to know because you need to allocate the right amount of holding cost in your accounts. That way, you know, and you have expectations and you can float cost along the way. So that's my Jacksonville deal. And by the way, this deal right here was actually a pre-foreclosure. We bought the deal via subject to, we caught up the arrears. And also to mention one thing is a wholesaler brought me that deal, but the wholesaler didn't know what they were doing. They didn't have the skill set. They didn't have the know-how of how to lock up deals creatively. And that's when I was able to come in, partner with the wholesaler. I gave him like a $5,000 assignment fee, which I didn't even have to give him that much, but I gave him a $5,000 assignment fee just for bringing me the deal. We actually took care of drafting the paperwork because he didn't know that. But what happens is being that you guys see, I'm building a brand. Why am I building a brand? Because now people are bringing deals to me. My job is only getting easier and easier as the days go on because my brand is building bigger and bigger. You guys know me, you know, like, and trust me. You see that I'm doing deals. So if you have a deal you want to sell, that's why you send it to me so I can buy it, right? So that's what I'm getting. The outside world of people bird dogging deals and connectors, they know that I'm in Florida. They know I'm buying in Florida. They know my markets I'm buying in, and they're bringing these deals for me. If you have the time to go out there and market, you have the time to train VAs, you have the time to go out there and structure a wholesale operating machine, which is very extensive, then go out there and do that. But I like to go and pay somebody. I'm okay with paying somebody $5, $10, $15, $20,000 for a property where I don't have to go through all that. I get to skip that. I actually get the contract ready for me, right? So that deal was brought to me at pre-foreclosure, 2.5% down. All the deals that I'm buying now are 100% creative finance. I do not use banks anymore. I don't believe in banks anymore just because I utilize creative finance. I have a tool in my tool belt that I'm using right now. This is what's working for me today. Now, it doesn't mean I'll never use a bank again in my life. It just means that right now in the climate that we're in, I'm using creative finance. I don't want to buy deals any other way. And I try to get in these deals right now. I try, like this Jacksonville deal, I try to be right around after my pads renovation, after my acquisition cost, after everything's said and done, the holding costs, etc. I try to really be in these deals around $60,000, $60 upwards of $70,000. If I can find a property that's doing $55,000 to $6,000 a month, okay, gross revenue, and I'm $60,000 into the deal, typically my cash on cash is going to be anywhere between 20 upwards of 30%, depending on the deal. But that's where I try to really pinpoint. I'm going to get into more about the underwriting and how I come across my numbers more tomorrow, guys. Property number 3 here is my Palm Coast property. Now, guys, you can imagine, I've gone through property number 1 in Orlando. I've gone through property number 2 in Jacksonville. Property number 3, total of 23 doors on PadSplit. I'm floating right around almost $9,000 a month in gross revenue, netting about $1,500 to $2,500 per property per month. And right now, at the end of this month, because this is one of my newest properties that I just launched and went live, this is another 7-bedroom property. Now, I want you guys to think about something, one thing. You guys are probably like, wow, Palm Coast, Florida, like what's going on there, man? That's like nothing going on there. Well, here's the thing. Knowing what I know now, and what you guys are going to be able to take away once you guys complete this PadSplit challenge is you're going to actually have the confidence to invest into markets that no one's doing PadSplit in. So for instance, my Palm Coast market, I am the very first property in there. How did I invest $60,000 into a property between my acquisition, the renovation, the furnishings, the holding costs, with confidence in a market that there is no other PadSplits? Well, guys, remember I talked about data? One of the things I looked at, I was like, okay, well, I can see a lot of PadSplit hosts are coming in Orlando. I can see a lot of PadSplit hosts are in Jacksonville. What about some of these coastal markets that have relatively cheap real estate at $300,000 price points, $400,000 price points? Because for me in my buy box, and we'll go over that once I get to the tomorrow, but one of the things in my buy box, I don't like to go really over $400,000 price point. I want to stay within $300,000 to $400,000 max on the high end. I want to stay in the affordable housing bracket, whatever the affordable housing bracket is these days, because it keeps going up and up and up, obviously, just like everything else. So with this Palm Coast market, I also bought it via subject to. Going back to what I said, a wholesaler brought it to me. He brought it to me, and he brought it to me with an entry fee of like 40 grand, right? And that 40 grand, I was like, no, dude, this is way too much. This is way too much. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2,300 square foot. Matt actually was with me. We were coming back from Jacksonville, my Jacksonville property, and I was like, hey, yo, let's hit Palm Coast on the way home, right? We walked that property at nighttime. It was a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. I was like, dang, dude, this property has a lot of square footage, and it has no bedrooms. It's actually funny. It's like I had all the square footage in the world. So I started underwriting the deal. I started looking at the market. I knew the entry fee was way too high. I didn't spend a whole bunch of time really analyzing this deal. I went back to the wholesaler after I did like a quick napkin underwrite, and I said, 40K is too high. I'm not a buyer at that price point. So he started marketing it. I could see another week goes by, 2 weeks go by. I was actually in Lake Tahoe. I was freaking snowboarding, having a good time. And I could see he's still marketing the property. And so I made him an offer, right? I made him an offer on the property. So what I will do, guys, is a lot of these wholesalers, when you really start understanding real estate and what's going to sell and the marketability of a property that you see a wholesaler selling, I've gotten to the point where I know the marketability of a property. And that's what I want to teach you guys. So one of the things you'll learn is when you see a wholesaler selling a property, you need to know how marketable that property is. Is he going to really move that property at XYZ dollars? I already knew that the guy wasn't going to move that property at XYZ dollars. So with this particular property, I made him a counter offer. He wanted like a $20,000 wholesale assignment fee, and I said, "Look, I'll give you. I negotiated him down to 7. I actually got him down lower. This Palm Coast property, being that it's a market that was newer for me, I wanted to make sure I was like bare bones, lowest entry fee as possible. You guys are going to believe this property is a pre-foreclosure. The wholesaler brought it to me with a 4.75 interest rate on this deal, okay? He couldn't move it. I saw pain in the wholesaler's eyes. I saw pain. I saw pain. He couldn't move it. He wanted to make a wholesale fee, right? And so what I ended up doing was I secured the deal from him. I gave him a $5,000 assignment fee, and the cash to seller was $3,000. And then my closing cost was like another $3,000. I was all in on the acquisition on this deal, like $13,000. It was crazy. I paid like 1 month of PITI, $3,000 of the sale or the seller, and then like a $5K entry fee to him. The pre-foreclosure on this deal, HUD actually bought out the arrears and made a silent second. No one had to pay out the, we didn't have to catch up the arrears or reinstate the mortgage. HUD actually ended up doing that. So how did I invest in this market with confidence is the question, right? How did I really invest in this market with confidence? Well, the way I did that was when I did my underwriting, I was like, you know what? I went to bestplaces.net, which I'll go into in my underwriting Zoom. Not Zoom, tomorrow I'll go about with that when underwriting, but I went to bestplaces.net and I started looking at like, okay, what are 1-bedroom properties going for? What are studio apartments going for? These are my biggest competitors. And then I noticed in this market, there was no 1-bedrooms and there were no studio apartments. Like there's no inventory for people to live. So if you're a single individual, not only there was no pad splits for these individuals to go into, there was no 1-bedroom or studio apartments for these individuals to go to. So what I ended up doing was I was like, okay, well, can I corner the market? To me, right away, I was like, man, I think I could probably corner the market, right? And so when I looked at the property, walked it, I was like, okay, I can convert this into another 4 bedrooms, addition to the 3 bedrooms that was there to make it a total of 7 bedrooms, right? So I was like, all right, well, there's no studios, there's no 1-bedrooms, there's no bus stops. Now, I'm going against a lot of the things that you'll hear me see and teach you guys, right? Like we all want to know that there's bus stops in the area. There is no bus stops. There's no transit. So I understand. So what am I getting at right now? One, I know my customer avatar. My customer avatar is not a person who needs a bus. There's somebody who has a vehicle. There's somebody who has a bicycle. There's somebody who has a scooter of some sort, or maybe who walks everywhere. Two, this property was actually just 1.5 miles to the main strip in Palm Coast where the brand new Avid Health that they just built, Lowe's, Home Depot, Walmart, Publix, all the restaurants, 1.5 miles away. So if somebody didn't have a vehicle, they had a scooter or a bicycle, they can actually easily commute back and forth to work. So I understood my avatar. Another thing I looked up, I was like, you know what? I want to look up statistically, who are the biggest employers in this market? Well, the biggest employers were the Lowe's, the Home Depot, the school board system, and the hospitals. They just built, again, a brand new Avid Health hospital. What is that a sign of? That's a sign of growth. What are they building right now? They're building a BJ's. BJ's is equivalent to a Costco and Sam's Club. Think about how many people those are employing. So right now in this market, and I know that I'm going to be able to corner the market. So what I did was I looked at all the 1-bedrooms, I looked at all the studio apartments, and I discounted my room rate. So like, let's say if a 1-bedroom was going for like $1,200 or $1,500 a month, I would take 30% off of that. And that's how I come up with my room rates. And I'm going to go really in depth on underwriting for you guys so you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about. And so the average room in this house is going for $240 a week. My first 7 days on the market for this property, I actually got my first booking in 7 days, which I was actually pretty impressed. I was like, well, I'm probably going to have to ride out this property for a lot longer. My holding costs are going to be a lot higher. And I was actually able to acquire my first individual at $236 a week for one of the bedrooms. Right now, I have a couple other people moving in and the property's slowly stabilizing. This property has not stabilized yet, okay? I'm factoring on this property about 60 days for me to stabilize the asset. Again, what is stabilized? Meaning I got to hold PITI, principal, interest, taxes, and insurance for another 60 days. My cable bill, my water, my lawn care, my internet, all that. Sorry, not cable, internet bill, right? I have all these costs associated with holding the property. So I'm probably expecting another 60 days for me to stabilize this asset before I can actually start cash flowing a little bit on this property. But this property, what I did was, I want to show you an example. Property 1, Orlando. Property 2, Jacksonville. Property 3. I did actually a mixture of different products in different markets, right? Because I want to test out. Right now, I have a lot of data right now, and that's what I'm sharing with you guys. Orlando, I knew Orlando was a newer market and that it's not as big as Jacksonville. Jacksonville is one of their main markets that they launched on PadSplit. So I knew I can corner the market in Orlando by being in Winter Park. People who know Orlando, Winter Park's a super premium location. For an individual to be able to get a bedroom rental in there, it's like you can't find them. Like there's no competition. Even though like when you go to Orlando and on PadSplit, you can see $800 to $1,000 or excuse me, 800 to 1,000 rooms for rent. Even though you see that many, you don't see them in premium areas like I'm at. And my average room in Orlando is $250 a week. That means I'm making $1,000 per bedroom. Okay. So I'm like, okay, Orlando's good. Jacksonville, when I went to Jacksonville, I was like, well, Jacksonville's a market to where I know there's a little more competition in the sense of I can see individuals renting bedrooms for like 140 a week. I'm like, 140 a week? How are these people making money? Right? Even though that my property was in a premium neighborhood, very nice neighborhood. By the way, guys, my properties are in not class A neighborhoods, but they're in C class neighborhoods. You don't want it to be, for instance, if your neighbors all around you got St. Augustine grass and they're out there mowing every single day and they're just in too nice of a neighborhood, right? Like you want to get that in between. You don't want to like where you have to worry about your car getting broken into, but you also don't want the guys who have pretty grass everywhere and HOAs and stuff like that. I do not invest in HOAs, by the way. Do not invest in HOAs, okay? So Jacksonville property, that's another different market. So I did this in 3 different markets. Jacksonville property, I was like, okay, let me give it a shot. Boom, did it. Up to 5 bedrooms, the property stabilized. I'm still a happy camper even with the property stabilized. Why? Because I'm getting so many other benefits owning real estate. I get loan pay down. I'm getting appreciation. I'm still getting my 27.5-year depreciation. I'm getting leverage. I can cross collateralize the property. I can do still a lot with that property, even though it's just stabilized. I'm not making money on that deal yet. When the other 3 bedrooms that are rented out, I'm going to be making profit, right? I'll expect those other 3 to probably be rented out in the next, 30 to 45 days, right? So with the Palm Coast market, I looked at a couple of metrics. I looked at one, there's no properties for rent on PadSplit. There's no 1 bedrooms and there's no studios. The other metrics I was looking at was like, I took my bedrooms and I discounted them 20 to 30% of what a studio or a 1 bedroom would go for, right? I was taking 20 to 30% off the price, okay? And that's how I came up with my bedroom rental numbers, right? But here's the beautiful thing. Not only did I look up all the employers, I also looked up what the population was in that market. I know in the Palm Coast market, there's 45,000 single family homes. There's over 105,000 residents in that market. If I can't get 7 bedrooms rented out where there's no competition on 1 bedroom studios or pad splits, I'm doing something wrong, right? And so that's the way I looked at it. So the Palm Coast market is more of a speculative, more of a guinea pig market for me. I'm still 100% confident about this market all day long. I know that it's going to rent out, especially I already got my first member in 7 days. That actually made me I felt incredible when I saw that, right? And so that property stabilizing right now, but between all these properties right now, 23 units, I should be right around the $16,000 mark gross revenue of something I just launched 7 months ago, right? And you guys can actually do the exact same. So that's why you guys are here today, to see and hear what PadSplit's all about. So, so that's my properties there. I'm going to actually go into some success tips. Matt, is there anything that I've missed so far on any of the slides here?
For day, excuse me, for day 1, no, you've done pretty well here for day 1 to kind of give the intro, showcase some of the properties you're going through and that it's possible, the wins, the good, the bad, the ugly, down towards the bottom, under tips for success for everybody that stuck around. Your questions have been added in the order that they were posted in the chat. So Javier will be going through each of those questions, bringing you up to go further in depth. But no, Javier, this is so far a great breakdown so far. Can't wait for day 2.
Awesome, 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 awesome. So guys, remember every day, Matt, you're going to be writing down the top people who are engaging. So that way at day 3, we can pick a winner for our upcoming giveaway that we're going to be doing. So remember guys, make sure you guys are tuning in, you guys are interacting, and you guys are collaborating with one another. So that's super important. And don't forget to do that. Don't forget, go to my YouTube channel, like and subscribe if you haven't done it already, and then follow me on Instagram. That's super important to include yourself into the engagement. And also, he will be writing down names of people who are engaging. That way we know who to give the giveaway to. But I want to also break this out to really quick for people who have, appreciate you guys. Thank you guys so much for doing that. By the way, really quick, just so I know, like, give me a 1 if this has been helpful so far. Quick introductory of PadSplit. Again, we have people who don't know anything about PadSplit in this chat, and we have people who know a ton about PadSplit and they just haven't taken action. Give me a 1 a little bit. Let me know if you learned something, and give me a 2 if you didn't learn something. Okay, give me a 0. I like that. Jimmy, 0. All right. So we have all types of people in here. So tomorrow we're going to go really in depth, and I went over the agenda for you guys. So make sure when you guys tune in tomorrow, you guys know and look at the agenda that Matt has emailed you guys. Remember, go to your email and check not spam if it's reporting as spam. That way you guys stay up on our emails and we'll keep you guys updated. Do me a favor. If you guys feel like you got value out of this, snap a shot and tag me on Instagram as well. But let's go ahead and get this opened up to the questions that you guys might have just for today's introductory. Tomorrow, we're going to really go into some of the meat and potatoes about underwriting, how to acquire property, and everything that you see on the agenda. And we're going to be going over tomorrow. Today, the main thing I want you guys to know is the people who don't understand what PadSplit is or co-living is, I want you to be able to walk away and understand like, oh, I have a great understanding of what this is all about. So let's go and open the floor up for live Q&A, guys. Let me know. So Matt, can we go ahead and get started on that live Q&A?
Yeah, absolutely. You start from the top and call name out and unmute yourself.
Cool. Awesome. So let me go ahead and let me actually. All right. So, all right. So what do we have here? So we have, all right, perfect. Let me get can you pop her on the screen here, Matt? Because I don't think I can pop her on the screen without stop sharing. Hey, Matt, you're muted. You're muted, Matt. You're muted.
Yeah, Melanie, are you unmuted?
Yeah, I'm unmuted.
Oh, perfect. Okay. Melanie, hey, how's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you so much for coming and tuning in.
Yeah, I have a ton of questions. As you see, I didn't know they're all going to be in the list. You had kind of mentioned you had a particular calculator to estimate profits. Like I like the PadSplit one, but I don't know. I just feel like there's probably more things you need to consider. So I'm just curious, did you create your own or are you grabbing it from somewhere else? Or
Yeah, no, so I have my own, and we'll be releasing a calculator to all you guys as a gift for you guys attending. So don't worry, you'll be getting that. I'm not a big, again, the biggest thing I use on the resource tab for PadSplit is their resources for the maps of how many people are in each zip code. That's like the biggest thing I use under their resources. I know some people use their calculator, not like you said, there's things that you can, not account for with using that calculator. So I think there could be definitely some improvements, but I'm going to be releasing one to you guys, and that way you guys can have that on us all day long.
awesome. My next question was that I'm entering a newer PadSplit market, so it's Killeen, Texas. So I think there's only 4 active units there, but they're all currently rented. I've been kind of watching the market for a while to see how fast they're filling. The property I have under contract, subject to 3% interest rate, woo, is 5 bedroom, 3 bath, but it's really 2.5 bath. And I guess I was nervous to start chopping it up because I kind of like the idea of having, more spacious rooms and things like that. But
Yeah.
I think the dining room definitely could be used as a separate entrance room.
Yeah.
I was just curious, what your thoughts were. So it's first one, chop it up.
Great point. So when I did my Jacksonville one, I actually had the mindset of how can I maximize the amount of bedrooms in the house? And so this is what I was telling you about. When you see this Jacksonville one here, this 8-bedroom one that I did, 2.5%, bought it sub 2.5%. I actually had the mentality like, man, let me make as many bedrooms in this place as possible. But then the problem is if you guys are doing PadSplit and you're chopping them up to make them as many bedrooms as possible, your retention rate for that customer, that avatar customer who's living in that unit might not be as long. And so what I did was, this is my point. Out of all these properties that I've created in these different markets, I've created different products because now I want to see what works the best. Is it the small bedrooms that work the best? Is it the more premium bedrooms that work the best? And I'm still actually collecting data, but what I can tell you right now is you do actually have a really good mindset. Like that's a 5.3. What I would say is you definitely need to still add bathroom or bedrooms, excuse me. I would add at least another 2 minimum, upwards to 3. If you can convert that that half bath into a full bath, that'd be great as well. I know that's a lot of construction. You might not want to open up that can of worms. That's totally fine as well. But I would add at least another 3. And the reason why I say that, and I'm going to go in depth in this more tomorrow when we're doing the underwriting, is you want to factor in at least one room for PadSplit fee, right? That you're paying them every single month, right? That's if you create another 3 and you have 8 bedrooms, that's now you're down to 7 bedrooms, right? You also want to create another bedroom and say, you know what, when I'm doing my underwriting, I want to eliminate another bedroom and say I have 6 bedrooms, right? And that other bedroom you're going to say is for vacancy. Okay, I don't, just one for vacancy every single month and one for PadSplit. So if you have 5 bedrooms, you want to take 2 bedrooms away. If you have 8 bedrooms, you want to take 2 bedrooms away. Always take 2 bedrooms away when you're doing your underwriting. And the reason why I say that is because one's for vacancy and one's for PadSplit fee, right? I like to look at it like that when I'm looking and I'm underwriting, because if I can say, and I have an 8-bedroom property, and now out of the 8 bedrooms, 6 of them are covering my operating expenses, am I still cash flowing any? And if I'm just covering my operating expenses and I'm cash flowing a little bit, I'm a happy camper. Remember, I mentioned earlier, I have one property that's only breaking even. It's covering all the expenses. I'm still a happy camper on that property. I really am, because I'm still getting all the other benefits of real estate investing, right? Now, you might be in a different part of the journey, and I 100% agree with you. You might not want to make such small bedrooms, but what I will tell you, if it's a 5-3, you definitely need to add bedrooms. I would add another 2 to 3 bedrooms to that floor plan. That way, your risk is spread a lot wider, and you have more bedrooms to account for that vacancy, that 1 bedroom for vacancy, and then that 1 bedroom for your PadSplit fee every single month that you have to pay.
Okay, awesome advice. Yeah, I can definitely add 2. I don't think I can add 3, but I'll either have to cut out the bathroom from the primary or add a shower to that half bath.
Yeah, if you don't want to build up the whole entire bathroom or make up the half bath into a full bath, that's totally fine. I understand that. It's a lot of construction, a lot of hassle. That's totally fine. You just, again, you still have a half bathroom. You just need, 3 for every 4 bedrooms, you need 1 bathroom. So if you can add another 2, 100%, great thing to do. And then the other things to look at in your market is the basic job growth, right? That's the important. We're going to get into that tomorrow when we're underwriting. But what is the basic job growth in that area? Who are the major employers? And how are people commuting to work? Is it bus? Do they need a bus system? Are they walking? Are they using a bicycle, scooter, stuff like that? So just make sure you're looking at those things too.
Yeah, it's a big military base, which leads into my next question about gender specific housing. I thought PadSplit didn't let you do that, but I think on your video, I thought you mentioned it, but maybe you mentioned it just for co-living.
Yes, you can. So you can do 2 things. You could say, hey, you know what? I want, and this is going back to what I said, all the 3 products that I've created with all my PadSplit, I've done 3 different setups. I've done one with male and female. I've done one with all male, one with all female. So I change it up to see what happens, right? And you're going to hear this from a lot of PadSplit operators. There's a lot of tension when you mix female and males in a property, right? Now, you also have to ask yourself, if you go all male or all female, one of the things you have to account for is it might take a lot longer for your property to fill up. Meaning, because guess what? You have a whole entire marketplace of PadSplit members, but now you're only marketing to males, or you're only marketing to females, for instance. So if you're okay with holding the property a little bit longer so you can get all males or all females, whatever you want to do, I would go ahead and go that route. What I've noticed though, even like with the property that I make an example, real life example, because I like to talk about real examples, not hypotheticals. I have one of my units right now that's a duplex. It's a 2-1 on one side, and the other side's the 4-1. This is the Orlando property. I've had a lady living in one of the rooms for the last 4 months. No issues, no problem. She is a cigarette smoker. She smokes outside. She doesn't smoke inside. We had a new lady move in this week, right? We've had every single property or every single individual member on that unit, which is unit B, has been females. So what I do notice is females do look for all female properties. I noticed that. They're not like it's very rare that you're going to see, or it's going to really take a very confident female to move in with 3 guys, right? Period. Right? We all know that. Not only that, with that particular property, unit B, where I have there's only 2 rooms, you're only sharing with 1 other individual. Well, this female moved in, and now she starts complaining about smoke smell. She starts complaining about cooking smell. She starts complaining about everything, right? I get it, right? So we're not going to be a perfect fit for everyone. But one of the things that we do in our pre-qualification process, because we have instant booking turned off on PadSplit, one of the things we do is we try to vet the member as best as possible, because ultimately we do want a good fit for this individual. Right? And it's not like we're doing like a super extensive vetting process, but we just ask things like, hey, are you familiar with the co-living process. Hey, have you read the membership agreement? It takes them through all the FAQs on co-living. And so we know when they acknowledge that, they understand what co-living is, we'll accept them. But this individual came in and she complains about everything, right? And we know that you're going to get the complainers. It's going to be hard to eliminate those things. But my point is now she's complaining about cigarette smoke and the lady doesn't smoke inside. I know there hasn't been any problems. And then I send one of my team members to the property to see if it smells like cigarette smoke inside to get a third party opinion. So you can go all male and you can go all female, right? And more females on the platform do want to live with all females. I can tell you that because I only get female inquiries for that one property. So for that property that you're going to do, you just have to ask yourself, if you're going to go all male or all female, are you okay with holding the property longer with the holding costs? Because it might take you a little bit longer for you to get the bedrooms right. Now, here's another good part about the market that you're in. There isn't any inventory. So that rule might not be so applicable to you, but just again, worst case scenario is it might take you, they say on PadSplit, depending on the market you're in, average days to get your property 80% occupancy is about 30 days. I don't think that's a good metric because I've seen that not be true in other markets, right? Like my Jacksonville market, it's taken me over 60 days to reach not even 80% occupancy. You see what I'm saying? But your market, the cool thing about you is there's not many pad splits in your area. So you are going to be able to corner the market in the sense of, hey, I want to have an all female house or I want to have an all male house. That you might be able to curate members a lot faster than someone like me. I'll make an example. I'm in a market where there's a lot more options, so that individual can go to other houses if my house is not, within their criteria,
Yeah, one of my other questions was about marketing. So doing marketing outside of PadSplit. So if I'm targeting like the military and males for my property, like are you advertising on other sites and just saying to apply, go here and sending them to your PadSplit listing or?
Yeah, so great question. So the best thing to do right now is if you go to if you go to padsplit.com and you go under the promotion tab, under the promotion tab, they will actually generate a flyer for your particular property where that person can scan the QR code. But what I don't like about the QR code is we all know, and based on PadSplit statistics, people are on their mobile devices when they're looking at PadSplit. So for them to scan a QR code for something they're looking at, it's not really, you can't do it, right? So what they have created recently is now you can actually share your property link on places like Facebook. So for instance, my Palm Coast property, we're actually running in the Facebook groups for all the room rentals and real estate groups in the Palm Coast market. We're throwing advertisements in there, free advertisements, not paid advertisements. And we're just saying, hey, look, these rooms are available. Here's the link to apply. And then the beautiful thing is if you refer someone to PadSplit as a member, they give you $250 gift card as well. So that will help offset the new fee model that they have. I don't know if you're familiar with it.
Can't wait to hear about it.
So yeah, you should, and you should advertise outside the platform if you're having trouble with occupancy. Right now, my Orlando market and my Jacksonville market, I don't do anything outside of PadSplit. Like I do everything. I let PadSplit handle the whole entire marketing piece. My Jacksonville and Palm Coast market, I do try to post in the Facebook groups, get it posted in the Facebook groups. That way people see that there's a property available, right? And it gives it more exposure. But remember, if you go and you search on PadSplit, they're dumping hundreds of $1,000s in marketing per month. Last time I checked, they're jumping like $500,000 a month for marketing. So depending on the market that you're in, they're going to be doing SEO ads. They're going to be doing Facebook, Instagram. They're going to be doing all type of advertisement on your behalf for your property. But being that you're in a newer market, what happens is when they run their advertising dollars, it's going to go to that more of that core market. And when people are in that core market searching, they're actually going to see properties pop up close to you. So like, make an example. If you've ever been on Airbnb and you're looking at like, let's say I want to book a property in Houston, Texas, it'll start giving you properties like similar properties in like Dallas, Texas. So it starts populating other properties up there. So even though that you search for Houston, it's going to start auto-populating other properties that are similar properties. So that right now, their main marketing dollar is going to the core markets. And it sounds like you're in a secondary market. Is that right?
Yeah. Secondary.
So that
for sure.
you're going to get that additional flow from being a secondary market.
Yeah, I figured I'd have to do some advertising since it's a newer
Yeah.
market for them. So last two questions and then everybody else can ask their questions.
Yeah.
How to determine utility costs when calculating property? I don't have the property yet. I don't know what the utilities are going to be.
Yeah.
Am I just
Yeah.
guessing
So
or?
yeah, I do like me in my head, I do like a flat rate. I calculate in where I'm at in Florida, we run air conditioned 24 hours a day, all year round. I factor in per property about 400 to 450 for utilities. That's what I factor in. One of the ways you can too, which is not going to be accurate, you can call the electric companies up and you can ask them what the previous homeowner's utility bill was, and you could double or triple that, right? That's actually public information. So you can call
Right,
them up and
okay.
say, hey, what's the average electric bill for the last 12 months here? Oh, and here's a cool thing. If you know that there was a family of 5 there, I'm just saying there might have been, there might not have been, but if you know that there was, and you could say, hey, what's the average electric bill? You can double or triple that. So you can get that information from the power company that is local to you. Me
Awesome.
personally, I just know that in my area, I'm about 400 to 450 a month in utility cost. I also have smart thermostat where they can't move the air condition. We keep it at 75.
75. Okay.
Yeah, 75. You're gonna keep it colder than that?
I don't know. I'm in Canada, so when it gets hot, we crank the AC. But yeah, no.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
well yeah, you're Canadian.
Last question was pricing it. So I'm in a new market. I don't know if I should be pricing higher and because there's no competition. And then what should everybody else be doing? Because I heard something about you can only increase your rates so much every so often.
Yeah. So let me answer your first question. First question is go to your studio apartments. Your biggest competitor right now is going to be your studio apartments and your 1 bedrooms. What are 1 bedrooms in a 1 mile radius and studio apartments in a 1 mile radius from your property? How much are those going for? Okay.
Yeah, 900 to 1300.
Okay. Then you might want to take about 20% upwards of 30% off that number. And then that will be your room rate every single month. Because remember, that's your biggest competitor. And like, why would they pay you, $1,200 a month or $1,100 a month if they can go and get a 1 bedroom or a studio apartment? So just mark off about 20 to 25%, and then that will be a good starting point for your room rate. You can also do things like promotions. You can also do things like no move-in fee, stuff like that. For like when I get a new property going, just so you know, dude, I don't charge any moving fees. I want to stabilize that asset as soon as possible.
For
Okay.
sure.
So no moving fees, less barrier to entry, and then I'll take about 25% of what studio apartments or 1 bedrooms are going for, and I'll deduct that off my total monthly rate, and then I'll divide that by 4 to come up with the weekly price of the weekly price of the room. Now, if somebody's living in the room, okay, and let's say they move out 6 months later, or 4 months later, or 2 months later, you can actually put that room rate back up to whatever you want. But with a pad split, they have to be in the room 90 days, and you can only increase, I believe, $10 every 6 months, if I'm not mistaken. But they
So
have
existing people. So if people moved out and I'm at
right,
150 because I want to just load it up, they
right.
move out, then I can go up to whatever, 175 or 200.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Awesome.
Yep. You can go to whatever you want. If they're there for long term, let's say 7, 8, 9 months, then they have to be there 90-day minimum. And then I believe the increment is like $10.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't want to pigeonhole myself in a low rate and I'd be stuck with it for a year if
Start high.
people were coming in and out, but that's awesome.
Yeah, start high. If you notice you're starting to book up way too fast, that means you're not charging enough, right?
Yeah.
So the key thing is just really honing in on a 1 mile radius. Try to stay in the same neighborhood you are. Try to find some studio apartments in that area and give about a 20 to 30% discount.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for answering my questions. I really appreciate it. This is
You're
awesome.
welcome. Where did you find this, by the way?
I think we have the same TC, Ella. So that's where I found you.
Ella recommended. All right, sweet.
But I've watched all your videos on YouTube. They're awesome.
Awesome. I appreciate that. All right, cool. So who do we got next, Matt? We're at
Julie. Yep,
Julie.
Julie.
Right. Would we be able
I need to get some prices right music going.
Yeah,
Julie, come on down.
Hi.
Julie, put her on the
Hey
screen.
guys, sorry I can't have my camera on, but
Yeah, that's excuses.
thank you, Javi and Matt, both. Appreciate it. My question kind of runs right along with I forget her name. I'm so sorry. I'm at work and I got distracted. But with the veterans, I wanted to do a room. I'm sorry, a property with just veterans and male. So you kind of answered that one. So you can when we advertise for it, that's normal, right? Can I say that? Would that interfere with any fair housing rules or anything?
No, I don't think you need to follow Fair Housing Act because you're just a single individual with a single family home. So if you
And
wanted,
because it's members, right? So they don't fall under the tenants
yeah, you're not gonna
leases.
follow under almost. I mean, you need to double check, but you shouldn't under Fair Housing Rights Acts. You shouldn't follow under any of their stipulations. But again,
Okay.
you got to ask yourself if you're going to advertise just to veterans.
Mm-hmm.
Don't really see PadSplit being a platform that is going to curate veterans for your property. Does that make sense? Like
Got it.
you might want
Yes.
to do your own marketing at that point.
Okay.
You don't want to
Sure.
because I mean PadSplit's not gonna, there's no way to really hone in on what members are veterans or not. The only way you're gonna know if somebody inquires about your property and it's Susie Q and Susie Q says,
Mm-hmm.
and at that point you're gonna have to deny them and then you're gonna have to redo that all over again, you know?
Okay. So
So
maybe to start, just go broad, and then we can niche down,
yeah,
advertise
you
on
can niche
Facebook or
down,
other.
but if it's in your heart, and I love where you're going with this, if it's really in your heart to do veterans,
Yeah.
then what I would say and what I would recommend is just do your own marketing, you know, but then you're going to ask yourself, like, are you okay with running ads? Are you okay with managing all the systems and processes to curate members? Like I've done co-living without PadSplit before. And so
Okay.
I know what it takes to curate a member. It's a lot
Yes.
of work.
Yes.
You gotta, if
Mm-hmm.
you do like I'm not just using an example. We're all familiar with Facebook. You start running ads on Facebook, you get blown up by people,
Mm-hmm.
blown up.
Right.
So that's just, and the majority of them aren't serious, and majority of them don't ever book. It's just the vetting process. It definitely takes time for them to give me this sexy platform, for them to do the marketing, for them to do everything,
Mm-hmm.
and take that out of my life. Boom.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather give them a
How-
little fee because that fee that you're paying them, you're going to be allocating that toward marketing dollars anyways,
That
or
makes sense.
EA
Yeah.
or something like that, you know?
So
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 maybe
Javier,
use
that
pads.
brings that. Sorry, Julie. I was just gonna
No,
say it
you're
brings up
fine.
a question as a veteran, but also um from a PadSplit standpoint. This is maybe something we could probably get an answer from Ray and Oriana. Javier, you know how the one gentleman at the conference, the speaker panel, where he talked about putting logos on his images on the platform that were like, oh, Wi-Fi,
I do that.
TV.
I do that.
Might need to get approved. Might need to get more clarification from Ray and PadSplit team. Maybe in her images when she's uploading them to the PadSplit platform, there's some sort of veteran approved or veteran stamp that might be able to go up, saying, "Hey, this is veterans only housing." Right? I don't know if PadSplit will allow that,
Yeah.
but that brings up the next question.
Interesting.
We could find out more information on that. I can reach out to Ray.
Yeah, we can definitely get you connected, but just remember from a standpoint, they're not really, that's not their niche market. So they're
Right.
marketing everyone. Now, whether it's a veteran or not, or so you just got to ask yourself, like, do your best to try to get veterans in there, but
Yeah. Yeah.
I would,
What I'll do is
I would do
I'll
your,
just use PadSplit. I'm sorry, Javi, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say, I would simply, if you want to really, get connected with the local veteran, like maybe go to your the VAs and stuff like that, and the associations that they have, and maybe you can advertise that way as well.
Sure.
That could
That
be a
sounds
good,
good. That sounds
that,
good.
that could be a good way. But remember, that takes a lot of legwork. That takes a lot of time. So I guess it's really from a standpoint like how much time and energy you want to be put into it, and do you want a streamlined process? If you want a streamlined process, go PadSplit. If you have it more in your heart and you're like, you know what? Yeah, I love PadSplit. It would do all the streamlining for me. Then you know what? I want to be able to do this my own. I want to build the systems and the processes out. Then go ahead and go the veteran route.
Okay, I think I'll use PadSplit for what PadSplit's intentions were for, and do the streamline process and
Right.
get that up and running to solve
Right.
the affordability crisis. And with the veterans, I'll just work on the co-living and strive for that.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
my other question, are there a lot of people with questions? Because I can always come back. I mean, we got 3 days together.
Keep going. I mean, we got a lot of questions. I mean, I'm going to get through all these guys. I'm here for you guys. So.
Oh, okay, perfect. This was pretty quick. I think you answered it as far as like, what's the longevity as far as your PadSplit members. You said on average it's 7 to 9 months, and you've been running these for a bit. What's been your take on that?
If I had to, without me really pulling data right now in this second, I would say my average stay right now would say is about 3 months. Based on PadSplit data, they say 7 to 9 months, but
Okay.
I've seen individuals move in and a month later move out. We always ask, is it anything with the property or do they have some life change? I had one individual, he moved to Orlando. It wasn't a city very long. He stayed for a month and a half, right? So one
Okay.
of my qualifying questions to the individuals when they move in, before we approve them, because we don't have the instant booking on, we ask them, how long is your intention to stay in this room, right?
Okay.
That's one of the qualifying questions. We want to have expectations. So a lot of times these guys will say, like for instance, that one individual, he's like, I'm only going to be here for about a month and a half. So I had expectation as the operator, but I would say based on what I'm seeing about 3 to 4 months right now so far. Once I have 12 months of data, I'll be able to better analyze that question for you and answer it.
Okay.
But,
Sure.
they say 7 to 9 months, but I do see a lot of people move in and then like a month later, 2 months later, they move out. But we just want to make sure it's not for the property, it's from a different like circumstances. And then I also think of it like in this way, Julie. I always think in my head, like, what am I losing these people to? Is it really a life?
Right.
It's like, where are they going? Because there's not really a whole bunch out there at this price points.
Right.
And we keep our properties. Like I'm very, very professional host. Now, not every host is professional. Like I had one member book with me in Jacksonville and they're like, well, the door lock wasn't working. This wasn't at my property, but at another property, the door lock wasn't working and we couldn't get my PadSplit host to answer me for 24 hours, right? We don't want that experience.
Yikes.
And what PadSplit is starting to do is they're starting to rate your properties on their platform, on their marketplace, just like Airbnb is. Airbnb promotes the listings that have the best, the ones that have the best reviews. PadSplit is now starting to do the same thing. If you're a real serious host, you have good reviews, they're actually going to promote you more on their platform because they want people to have the experience to be good. You know what I mean? So, yeah, so for me, I would say about 3 to 4 months ish without me
Okay.
really running averages right now off the top of my head. But my goal is to really have them here for 1 to 2 years. Like if I could not flip the rooms every 12 months, oh my God, that would be so ideal, right? Because every time we have
Sure.
to clean the room, we got to clean it, you got to, so it takes time, right? Even though
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
24 hours, it's still a process. And you
Okay.
still lose income because now the room's vacant. But
Right.
well, I said earlier, this is the beauty. Your risk is spread so much wider because now you have 6, 7, 8 other bedrooms still paying you.
Sure. Sure. I like that. And then just to segue right into what you were saying as far as a 3-month turn, 3 or 4-month turn, what's the average cost of your turn to get the room ready?
$50.
So pretty quick. And is it 50
$50.
bucks? Oh man.
Yeah,
Okay.
I
But
get a cleaner that does and turns a room for $50. Their job's to make sure there's no damages, make sure that we have 2 mattress protectors on each mattress, and make sure we have 2 pillow protectors on each pillow, and make sure that there's 2 pillows, the bedside lamp. So we have a whole entire SOP that they have to look at when they're in the
awesome. Awesome.
that way.
And I just want to,
Mhm.
no, go ahead. Sorry.
No, that way when they turn the room, we know if there's any damages, that there's not damages, stuff like that. A lot of times too, one of the things that get stained are mattress protectors. So you will incur a cost. Those are about 25. If you get really high quality ones that are like waterproof, and the ones that don't sound like plastic when you're sleeping on the bed, they're the softer ones, right? Real soft touch. You're probably about $25 on those, but you can also charge, like I said, move-in fee. The move-in fee will help offset these costs. When I initially get a property going, I don't care. I want to fill the property up quick as possible. I'll eat a $20 or $50 turn if I have to. So
Sure.
it's $50 and we return it within 24 hours to get it back on the market to advertise.
Excellent. Okay. Thank you. I'll come back for other questions as I think about it. Thank you so much.
Listen, we have another 2 days, so don't worry, guys. Today was just an introductory. I want people to understand what PadSplit is, and this is just the introductory. So tomorrow we're going to deep dive even further on underwriting, how to analyze, stuff like that.
We're going to move on to Tim, but just so everyone that's here sticking around to the end, I want to thank you all for being here. I went ahead and dropped the day 1 student guide in the chat. So if you guys want to go ahead and open that up and bookmark that. You'll have the student one guide there ready for you with all the Q&A and everything Javier went over today. But Tim is next up with how much does PadSplit charge? So Tim, if you want to come on down and go back and forth with Javier.
What's up, Tim?
Yes.
How you doing, buddy?
All right.
Good to see you, man. Good to see you.
Yep.
So PadSplit, they actually just released a new fee model. Okay. The new fee model is where they take, if you're renting a property, let's say, or excuse me, you're renting a bedroom. We're going to use a bedroom for example. You're renting a bedroom, let's say at $250 a week, right? They actually take the first 10 days of income that bedroom generates right now. 10 days. This is the new fee model. After the 10 days, it's now ongoing 8% per month of the gross revenue. So every time they have to curate, meaning they have to place a brand new member in that room, they will take the first 10 days of income. If that member that they curated for the bedroom wants to transfer to one of your other properties or wants to transfer to another bedroom, you do not pay that 10 days again. You only pay an ongoing 8% service charge every single month. So how does this incentivize you as the PadSplit operator is you want longevity. If you're a PadSplit operator and you are turning and burning through members, you will be losing money. This will not be the best business model for you. So if you're not very intentional on providing a very good product for these individuals and a comfortable place for them to stay, obviously there's other things out of your control, like life changes. Somebody might have to move across the country. Okay, obviously that's not in your control. So if that is the case and they have to get a new member for that bedroom, they're going to charge you another 10 days. One of the ways you can offset the cost, guys, and one of the ways is if you go and you get to the referral link code to PadSplit for the members, not for a host, but they have a referral link code that's unique to each one of your properties. And what you do in your house, you can check mark every single member in that house, and you can do house message. Hey guys, just want to let you know, here is a referral coupon. We know, you guys love to live with people that you know, like, and trust. If you have a coworker or someone you know that wants to move into the house, room 4 is now available. If you refer someone else, you get a $50 Visa card, and guess what? You as the host get $250 Visa card that they give you. They don't give you cash; they give you a Visa card, which I'm not a big fan of. But whatever. That $250 that they give you, PadSplit, if you find a member for that room, they'll pay you, right? If you're the one who finds the member or someone signs up for that through that link, that will offset that 10 days that they take from you. As long as your room is 250 or lower. If your room's more than that, obviously you'll be losing a little bit of money. But first 10 days of income, PadSplit takes. After that, it's ongoing 8% charge.
All right. Thank you.
Awesome, brother. All right, then we have Georgiana is the next question. Georgiana, what's up? How you doing?
Oh, hello. Yeah. So I'm just curious about PadSplit representative.
Yep.
As far as like how can they support
Yep.
like a landlord?
Yeah.
Like what kind of support would they be able to offer?
So PadSplit does, again, a few things. They do the advertising for you, they do the background check, the credit check, and the employment verification. And then they monitor all the payments that are coming from that member. So for instance, they don't distribute money to you until between the 1st and the 5th of that following month, right? It sounds like your question is more geared toward, if I'm not mistaken, is, are you looking for a specific representative in your market to help you analyze a property? Is that right? Or is it more of what support do they do for the fee?
Just like more general, like you talked more about your experience a little bit, but you said they're a bit stretched thin. So like, are you mostly on your own or like?
So stretched thin in the sense of PadSplit has grown so fast that now they don't have enough boots on the ground to be able to say, because in certain markets, you can't just call a PadSplit representative and say, hey, can you come walk this property with me? I'm thinking about buying and help me come up with the numbers on this property. In certain markets, you can do that. You can reach out to like whatever market you're in. What I would say is join the national PadSplit group on Facebook. And let's say you're in Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas. Hey, who's the representative for this market? they'll chime in on you. They're watching that Facebook. It's actually being ran by PadSplit. Hey, who's the representative for Fort Worth, Texas? Boom. They'll now put you into contact with that person. You have their cell phone number. Say, hey, look, I'm looking to buy this property. Can you help me underwrite or analyze it, or maybe walk it with me to show me where I'm going to put walls up? Now, there's other markets that they don't have representatives there because, again, they're stretched thin, meaning like they only have their core markets, and their core markets are where their representatives are typically. Now, they are growing as a company and they're adding more workforce to it. So it's probably not as bad as it was 5-6 months ago. But 5-6 months ago, you as a new operator, you reaching out to PadSplit, good luck trying to get somebody to walk your property. Right now, they have representatives that will help you walk the property, show you where to put up walls if you're looking to acquire a property for PadSplit. So that's what I mean by stretch thin. Now, as far as what PadSplit does, I'm going to repeat myself. What they do for the fee every single month, they do all the marketing, they do the background check, credit check, employment verification, which is done by a third party, by the way. They're not doing it in-house. They outsource the background check, the credit check, employment verification. It's all outsourced to a third-party company. But they manage that whole entire process. Another thing they do for the fee is they have a 24-hour support chat and email and call that you can call them on as a member. Hey, man, I can't get in my room. It's 3 a.m. I don't know what the door code is, right? They can actually go into your internal notes. They can go in your dashboard as an operator, and they can see what your internal notes is. You can leave internal notes for them. Now, it's not something common where they're going to be continuous giving you support, right? Because somebody's stuck outside at 3 a.m. It's not their job to do that, but they will do it. They'll go to the dashboard, see if there's any internal notes. Hey, the code of the door is 123, right? So they'll do that as well. And they handle all the payment resolutions. One big thing I will tell you this, PadSplit is awesome at is collecting payments. They have a very high payment success rate. If someone doesn't pay their dues, they call them dues. If someone doesn't pay their dues, dude, they're pinging that person, they're emailing that person, they're calling the person, they're constantly following up with the person. Like, they're relentless on getting the dues paid. And I like that because it takes a lot of manpower to constantly tell this person, hey, your money's due. And if the person is late on their dues, by the way, they constantly inform the PadSplit operator from day one. Hey, this person's late on their dues. You're getting notified, right? You're getting notified by platform, and you're getting by the dashboard, and you're getting notified via email. So they're actually really keeping you involved every step of the way. I love that because you know as a PadSplit operator if this person's not paying or not. Now, obviously, if they don't pay after a certain period of time, and I think if they're over 2 weeks due, they'll get evicted from the platform. Now, why would a person not want to get evicted from the platform? It's because they are in an area where it's affordable housing. Why would you want to get suspended and kicked off a platform of something that you need? You need a house, you need a roof over your head. So it really gives them more skin in the game as well, because, hey, if I don't pay my dues, I don't get to stay in the platform. If I don't stay in the platform, I can no longer access PadSplit Marketplace ever again. So they're really good in those aspects of things between the customer service, the vetting the customer, all that stuff. Again, that's why I'm okay with giving them that fee. For me, as an operator, I see value in the fee. Some people I talk to, other co-living operators, don't see value in the fee, and they rather do all this stuff in-house. So it goes back to me saying what I said earlier. Do you want to do all the systems and process? Do you want to be able to build out the SOPs for your team to do all the co-living things that PadSplit's doing, and the marketing and the background checks and credit? You can certainly do all that. You just have to ask yourself. And then whatever market you're in, going back to what I said, join the national PadSplit Facebook group, and then just type in who is the sales representative of this market, and then they'll put you in touch with someone who can help you walk through properties and analyze stuff like that.
Oh, that's a great answer. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. I think we have, is there some sort of customer service for landlords?
She's got, yeah, I think she's got 2 more there. So it looks like, yeah, you covered those. Yeah.
And I mean, I answered both those already. So
Yeah,
we're
perfect. All right. So we got Jose.
yeah, Jose. Do you extend it? Okay. Jose. So one of the real popular things right now is there's a lot of investors that do rundown roach motels and they convert them into co-living spaces. It's actually very, very popular. I'm not doing any of that. Everything I'm doing is in the single family, arena, but it's a very, very popular thing. So extended stay hotels are definitely something that is happening. Like right now, I walked a property that was 105 rooms. that is being converted into a co-living space. So there are old motels, roach motels that are being converted into co-living. It's actually very, very common right now. They're called hotel conversions. And I do know a group of investors that target those. I don't really know much about it. It's not my area to speak in, but I'm not really focused on that. I'm more focused on the single family side. If I go into anything, what I'll be going into is boutique hotels, and that's going to be for the short-term rental space only, kind of like Airbnb style for short-term rentals. So again, that's another conversation, another day, stuff like that. But I'm not really familiar with that space, Jose.
Yeah, no, I was more asking in regards to when you're considering how to price your rooms. Like you mentioned that you look at studio apartments as your biggest competition, right?
Gotcha.
So say if there's like one of these hotels that offer
Understand.
extended stay right around the corner from where you are, do you look at that and say, whoa, that guy's charging
Yeah.
X amount for the
Yeah,
week?
100%. I think that's a great metric to look at. It's definitely because remember, with extended stays, they're typically not as strict because remember, PadSplit and co-living is typically for single individuals. Extended stays, you will see families in them and dogs and pets. So it is good to look at extended stays to see what they are charging, and you can base your fees on that as well. But remember, extended stays are just a little bit different in the sense of they do allow families and stuff like that. They are strict though. They do have a lot of guidelines, but I think it's a good thing to look at. Look, the more data you have, the better on determining what your price per room is. I like to use studios just because the next progression for that individual in my PadSplit room is going to be a studio apartment. So you can look at extended stays, but also remember this, a lot of extended stays are not in the best areas either. So I would say stay close to your property as possible, a half a mile to 1 mile radius from your subject property to pull comps. If you're going 5 miles to pull extended stay, then not a comparable, right? Comp it just like a property sale. Very similar.
Got it. All right, thanks.
And then hotel conversions are very, very, very common right now. So,
Mhm.
all right, cool. Now,
Going back to Georgina for the final question.
Yeah, Georgina, these are again single individuals that are renting these bedrooms. It's single individuals, no babies, no boyfriends, no booty calls over. No, I mean it's for single individuals only. No toddlers, no nothing. In the membership agreement, they agree to only be living in the property and occupying the property just their self. They have rights to the property, just them alone. There's no if it's a single mom and they go to visit their kid, that's fine, but they can't have their kid over. That's not allowed. They can't have their boyfriend over. They can't have a family member over, stuff like that. So unfortunately, this is an individual for individuals only. You have two different types of affordable housing. You have it for single individuals and then you have it for families. This is not for families. This is just for single individuals only. Any more questions, guys? Is
Great questions for day one.
that the last question, Matt?
Yep. Great questions for day one. Yes, sir.
Sweet, guys. So guys, listen, I really appreciate you guys tuning in. This has been awesome. This is just, again, the introductory. We freaking crushed it today. We had a really good audience. We had a really good turnout. Drop a 1 in the comments if you guys felt like this was helpful for you guys to understand co-living and PadSplit. Drop a 2 if you didn't learn anything, and drop a 3 if you're going to be attending tomorrow. Don't forget, we have prizes we're going to give away on the last day.
And
so it's important for you to be tuned in into day 3. Matt's going to be, like I said, he's been in the back end on the support. So we're going to be getting to all your questions, and we're going to be getting into a lot of the meat and potatoes tomorrow. And then day 3, we're going to wrap this up to give you guys actionable steps to start taking down your next PadSplit investment if this is something you want to do. That's the beauty about this. You guys might go through these 3 days and you're like, I don't really want to do co-living. And that's totally fine. At least you know what co-living is about, and you know if you're going to utilize this in your tool belt. Don't forget, if you could do me a favor, make sure you tag me on Instagram. Take a picture of this right now.
Yeah.
Tag me on Instagram and just say what your big takeaway was. Tomorrow, make sure I want you guys to think about what your actionable step is. Not many people dropped in the comment what their actionable step was going to be or what they wanted to take away from this. I want to know what your takeaway is, what you want to take away. Even though that we're doing everything from A to Z, drop in the comments. Let us know what your takeaway is. What do you expect out of this? Matt has already, just repeating it, Matt has already sent out the 3-day agenda to your emails. Make sure you mark it as not spam. Go in there and download the agenda so you can keep track and follow along with us throwing the whole way. Make sure you also sign up. Matt, if you can drop the PadSplit sign up in here, padsplit.com. Make sure you sign up because we're going to be deep diving into the dashboard a lot more. And I don't want you guys to be lost when I'm deep diving into the dashboard.
Yeah, everybody's got the 3-day agenda and the day 1 student guide, which has all the links and resources we talked about. Again, if you're trying to win that one lucky spot for the 10,000 package giveaway, now is the time to pull out your phone, take a quick screen grab here live with us. So everybody pull out their phone, screen grab it, and then post it as a story, tag Javier. You can tag me if you'd like, but just tag Javier is all you need to do to meet the requirements. I'll be going through those today. Everybody who does that will get an additional 10 entries into the giveaway to increase the randomization picker that I'll be using on day 3 to pick the one lucky winner. Thank you all for being here. And if there's anything we can do to make this better, your feedback, send us an email, Javier at javier-paredes.com. It should be the same email you've been getting for the Zoom signups. Feedback is how we can make this event better for you and future folks coming in to learn about PadSplit and or other investment opportunities through these kind of 3 to 4 day challenges. So thank you so much for all being here. Again, we'll be seeing you guys tomorrow at 12 o'clock, right?
Yep, 12 o'clock tomorrow, and then 12 o'clock on Wednesday. And then you guys can join in the free Facebook group we've created for you guys as well, for all the freebies we have on there as well. If you guys want to join in. You can drop
And then also, by the way, I know he may have mentioned it. We do have the 10K giveaway, but we also have a special gift for everyone as well, a special offer. But we're not going to announce any of that until day 3. So if you want to know what that special offer is, got to stick around, stay with us, stay engaged. Everybody can take action on that, but that'll be going down at the end of day 3.
Sweet. Awesome. Well, listen, guys, it was awesome seeing all you guys. I'm glad we all got to connect, and let's keep rock and roll. I'll see you guys here tomorrow. You're welcome.